initiative to reach out with analytical information in real time. We have with us the Honorable Minister for Commerce and Industry, Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman ji. She will tell us all about this and other measures to boost exports. I extend a warm welcome to you, Madam. I also welcome Secretary DIPP, Shri Ramesh Abhishek, Director General Foreign Trade, Shri Anup Vadhavan, Joint Secretary, Shri Damu Ravi. Friends, the Honorable Minister will first make her opening remarks, then we will take some questions. As usual, I request you to kindly follow the points of order, and a gentle request also to keep your mobiles on a switch off or silent mode. Over to the Honorable Minister.
Thank you. I think Frank Ji has really set the backdrop with which we are holding this press conference today. Essentially, the Commerce and Industry Ministry has been undertaking a few initiatives, all of which have been periodically explained in smaller gatherings. But we thought it is important in the light of the BRICS summit which is happening, prior to which BRICS finance ministers met in Goa, BRICS trade ministers met in Delhi, and as an initiative which has been received very well is to reach out to the BIMSTEC region during this BRICS conference by the Prime Minister. The BIMSTEC outreach is essentially widening the scope of India's economic reaching out to its neighbors. BIMSTEC largely has this common asset link of Bay of Bengal. So the countries which we are talking about are Bhutan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Thailand, and Myanmar. So this morning, yesterday, all of you all were somewhere around, and therefore you saw us interact with the BRICS ministers. But today it has been a day in the morning where business-to-business contacts and the forum which was interacting was the platform for interaction for the BIMSTEC ministers was happening this morning. The business-to-business contacts were happening this morning. I attended their meeting too. So the environment prior to the summit, the BRICS summit, as you are aware, India is the chair for BRICS this year. So when we are hosting it, the Prime Minister thought it fit to have the BIMSTEC outreach also done. So this has happened, and just before this, you had the export-import data. Is that all right now? Are you able to hear? The export-import data in the form of a dashboard, which we in the ministry feel happy that we were able to launch a very interactive and not just the data, but also with infographics and so on, a data which has come out. The dashboard is full of information on export and import. So the attempt by the Commerce Ministry is very clearly to reach out to such groups, and in the bilateral that I held yesterday with South Africa, the Minister for Trade who's come in, there is enough reason now to start reviving the SACU. The minister himself, South African minister himself, said that he'll be interested in having SACU revived, the South African Customs Union, where countries around South Africa themselves have a customs union among themselves, and with us working through the South Africa trade minister, we hope to have an access to the South African customs union markets as well. Similar was the sentiment which was expressed by the Brazilian minister. He was also very keen that the Mercosur has to be revived, and we should take up issues as regards Mercosur. So in the context of BRICS, both the bilaterals have opened up from their end, opened up the possibility, the future possibility of greater opening through the existing unions for themselves in their own context, but for India to use it and to explore newer markets using those unions which exist, with which we have tried earlier, but now the opportunity seems to be a lot more optimistic. As regards Russia, certainly a lot of initiatives were discussed. Russian investment in India, Russian manufacturing in India. The minister, by the time he arrived for the BRICS trade ministers meeting, had visited Andhra Pradesh in regards to some kind of a joint venture for some marine-related equipments and also shipbuilding. And he had also visited Rajasthan, where he met with the chief minister of Rajasthan. All this has been raised by the Russian minister. We have also spoken about access to markets in Russia. Many of the regional heads around the capital region, Moscow, had also accompanied the minister. So it was a delegation which clearly indicated that Russian businesses are far keener in expanding into India. So was the sentiment this morning when I went for the ASSOCHAM's meeting. There was a large delegation from Russia who were engaging with the ASSOCHAM members, in other words, opening up business-to-business contacts, and again, opening up and signaling joint venture intents. China, we had a bilateral again with the minister, and in that a lot of issues about which you have periodically inquired with us. Since my first engagement in 2014, June, till today, several issues have still remained unresolved. But I'm happy to say that the minister did take cognizance of all of them. Where he was trying to explain, he did explain, but has seriously taken note and said he will do his maximum best to open up markets within China. The difficulties that our IT companies face in terms of registration, regulation, time consumed in allowing them to function, all this were graphically in detail raised with the Chinese minister. So have I also raised the issue of pharmaceutical companies, where they themselves openly say they need our generic drugs. They would appreciate having the Indian drug companies come and do work there, but at the same time have not made it easy for them. We've very, very clearly highlighted that our pharmaceutical companies have been recognized by the FDA authorities, by the EU authorities, and why would it take this long for the Chinese authority to recognize them? So it was an intense engagement with the Chinese, and I'm happy to say that it was definitely a positive air of wanting to cooperate, wanting to welcome, and the minister has assured me that he's going to come back to us to expedite the matters on which we've been talking for some time. I think as an opening statement, this is all that I would say. I've touched upon the three large topics which have been talked about: BRICS, BIMSTEC, and the dashboard. If there's anything more, you can always. But the reason why I insisted on having Secretary IPP was a lot of investment-related initiatives are also on board. Invest India has been very well received. In fact, I must have a word of praise because Invest India accompanied me to Canada. Their representatives were really full of vigor, and they are serious youngsters who are co-opted to work with Invest India. And through Invest India, BRICS nations are also benefiting. So Secretary is here in case we want some details on that too. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, madam. Now we'll take some questions. Yeah, we'll start with Anu. Yeah, आप एक बात पूछ लीजिए।
दिल्ली मुंबई इंडस्ट्रियल कॉरिडोर में हमारे को 8 शहर नए बनाने हैं। अभी 4 शहरों पे काम चल रहा है। एक गुजरात में ढोलेरा है, महाराष्ट्र में औरंगाबाद, विक्रम उद्योगपुरी है मध्य प्रदेश में, और ग्रेटर नोएडा है उत्तर प्रदेश में। तो लगभग 8,000 करोड़ रुपए के प्रोजेक्ट्स हम लोगों ने सैंक्शन किए हैं ट्रंक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के रूप में, और उसका काम चल रहा है। हमारा ये टारगेट है कि 2019 तक ये फर्स्ट फेज ऑफ ट्रंक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर पूरा हो जाएगा, और बल्कि इसी साल से ये जो जितने भी ये नोड्स हैं या शहर बन रहे हैं, ये स्पेशल पर्पस व्हीकल के थ्रू से बन रहे हैं, जिसमें कि स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का 50 या 51% शेयर है और DMIC डेवलपमेंट कॉरपोरेशन का 49 है। तो ये प्रोजेक्ट्स स्टेट गवर्नमेंट से ही ड्राइव हो रहे हैं। गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया इसमें अप टू 3,000 करोड़ रुपीस देती है इक्विटी के रूप में। तो ये मॉडल है इसका। तो औरंगाबाद में और ढोलेरा में एंकर इन्वेस्टर्स को लैंड अलॉट करने के लिए भी काम शुरू हो रहा है, और इसका इन्वेस्टमेंट प्रमोशन भी हम लोग कर रहे हैं। जहाँ भी इन्वेस्टमेंट प्रमोशन मीटिंग्स होती है, रोड शोज़ कर रहे हैं, ताकि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोग यहाँ पर आएँ और मैन्युफैक्चरिंग के लिए एक बहुत ही जो स्मार्ट सिटी बन रहे हैं। ढोलेरा को अभी काम शुरू हुआ है, लेकिन उसके डिज़ाइन को देखते हुए इसे एक प्लैटिनम ग्रीन सिटी का ग्रीन अवार्ड को भी मिला है अभी इनको। तो अभी इसमें काफ़ी प्रोग्रेस हो रहा है।
निर्मला जी से मेरा सवाल है।
ठीक है।
निर्मला जी से मेरे 2 सवाल हैं। निर्मला जी, ब्रिक्स देशों में चीन के राष्ट्रपति जी भारत आ रहे हैं। चीनी सामान भारत में ना बिके, चीनी सामान का उपयोग भारत में ना हो, इसके लिए लगातार मुहिमें चलाई जा रही हैं। सोशल मीडिया भी बड़ा एक्टिव है इसको लेकर के। भारत सरकार का क्या रवैया है? पहला सवाल। दूसरा सवाल, क्या पाकिस्तान को MFN का दर्जा जारी रखेगा भारत, और कब तक ये एक तरफा मोहब्बत करता रहेगा भारत?
हिंदी और इंग्लिश मिक्स में जवाब दूंगी। कुछ भी कारण हो, सिर्फ एक देश के इंपोर्ट का रोकने के लिए कुछ हमारे पास अस्त्र ऐसे नहीं है। आज कारण ABC हो सकता है, इनको इस कारण की वजह से एक देश से हम पूरे इंपोर्ट को रोकना चाहते हैं, ये तो नहीं मुमकिन नहीं है। मगर अगर कुछ इंपोर्ट उस देश से रुकवाना है क्योंकि उसमें ज़्यादा सब्सिडी मिल रही है या तो कुछ क्वालिटी के इश्यूज हैं, फिर उसके लिए रोकने के लिए हमारे पास इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स होते हैं। कुछ एंटी डंपिंग ड्यूटी लगा सकते हैं, सेफ गार्ड मेजर्स ले सकते हैं, या तो स्टैंडर्ड्स का दिखाते हुए कम स्टैंडर्ड वाले चीज़ हमें नहीं चाहिए ऐसे करके रोक सकते हैं। मगर ब्लैंकेट एक देश से जितने भी इंपोर्ट्स आ रही है उन सबको एक ही इंस्ट्रूमेंट के द्वारा रोकना असंभव है, वो विषय स्पष्टता रहे। और जहाँ तक इंडस्ट्री या कंज्यूमर लॉबी हमें इंफॉर्मेशन और फैक्ट्स के साथ पहुँचते हैं कि ये इशू, ये स्टैंडर्ड्स इसमें नहीं है या तो इसमें सेफ्टी के खिलाफ विषय है, ऐसे चीज़ इसमें, ऐसे पदार्थ इसमें उपयोग में आया है, इसके कारण बच्चे के लिए हानिकारक है या खाने वाले के लिए, कंज्यूमर्स के लिए हानिकारक है, फिर हम स्टैंडर्ड्स को उपयोग करके रोक सकते हैं। वो चीन के विषय के ऊपर जवाब है। MFN भारत देश पाकिस्तान को 1996 में एक्सटेंड किया है। मल्टीलेटरल ट्रेड बॉडी जो WTO होता है, उसमें हम उनके कंडीशंस, उनके मेंबरशिप का रिक्वायरमेंट सब समझते हुए जाकर हम मेंबर बनाते हैं हम अपने आप को, या उनके कंडीशन को रैटिफाई करके मेंबर होते हैं। उसमें आप MFN देना आमतौर पर रेसिप्रोसिटी के बेसिस में होता है, मगर जहां तक मेरा समझ है पाकिस्तान के लिए हम MFN गुडविल के नाते एक्सटेंड पहले ही हम किए, और इसमें हमारे अंडरस्टैंडिंग ये था कि रेसिप्रोसिटी प्रिंसिपल के नाते वो हमें भी MFN देंगे, मगर दुर्भाग्यवश अब तक MFN पाकिस्तान ने हमें नहीं दिया। मगर विथड्रॉवल के बाद जो आप उठाते हैं, स्ट्रिक्टली स्पीकिंग उस विषय के ऊपर चर्चा अभी तक कुछ नहीं हुआ है, और क्या विड्रॉ करना है नहीं करना है इसके ऊपर अभी मैं कमेंट करने के स्थिति में नहीं हूं। और ये भी कह सकता हूं कि हम तो गुडविल के नाते दिए। आज के माहौल में बहुत सारे लोग हमसे ये बात पूछ रहे हैं कि क्या विड्रॉ करेंगे, मगर अभी इसके ऊपर कुछ मशक्कत नहीं हुई और मैं अभी इसके ऊपर टिप्पणी भी देने की स्थिति में नहीं हूं। No, ideally the WTO principles or any principle in a multilateral organization would be to move towards an ideal situation of mutually exchange. You give MFN, they'll also give MFN. But if days are bad and you think you want to withdraw MFN, I'm not sure if there is anything for me to comment on it. I'll have to go back to see if there is an instrument available. But largely it works on the principle of everybody gives.
मैम मैं दीपाली हूँ CNBC आवाज़ से। ब्रिक्स ट्रेड फेयर के दौरान भी ज़्यादातर भारतीय उद्योगपतियों से जब हमने बात की कि चाइना से जो इंपोर्ट बढ़ता जा रहा है उनका कंसर्न कितना है, तो उनका ये कहना था कि लंबे समय से वो एंटी डंपिंग ड्यूटी की डिमांड सरकार से कर रहे हैं, वही शायद एक विकल्प है कि इस पर रोक लगाई जा सके। आपसे जानना चाहूँगी कि कब तक इस दिशा में कदम उठाया जाएगा?
एंटी डंपिंग ड्यूटी जैसे मैंने जनरली बोले, हर जो चीज़ इंपोर्ट में आता है उन सब का एक ही कदम में हम उठा नहीं सकते। एंटी डंपिंग ड्यूटी आइटम के ऊपर, मतलब HS कोड को उपयोग करते हुए, टैरिफ लाइन का रेफरेंस देते हुए, इस चीज के ऊपर डंपिंग ज्यादा हो रही है इसीलिए इसके ऊपर एक्शन लिया जाए, ऐसे रिक्वेस्ट आना है। और उसमें साथ साथ फैक्चुअली ग्राउंड रियलिटी इंडस्ट्री जो अप्रोच करते हैं हमें, वो उसका डेटा भी देना चाहिए। उसके बाद एक इन्वेस्टिगेशन हम हमारी तरफ से करते हैं, फैक्ट्स अगर साबित होता है तो उस आइटम के ऊपर कुछ HS कोड्स के ऊपर 1 या 10 या 15 जो भी जितने भी आइटम के ऊपर आप लगाने के लिए डेटा हमें देते हैं, हमारी इन्वेस्टिगेशन भी प्रूव करते हैं, फिर एंटी डंपिंग ड्यूटी लगाते हैं उन आइटम्स के ऊपर और ड्यूटी भी तय करते हैं कि कितने होना चाहिए। मगर एंटी डंपिंग पूरे एक देश से जितने भी कमोडिटी सारे उनके ऊपर लगाओ, ये तो नहीं होगा।
There were media reports that government is considering to relax FDI policies regarding 100% food retail and the real estate FDI. How true are they and what is the consideration plan?
They're both totally different. You can give them two answers.
Yes. Regarding e-commerce, see, the government has set up a committee chaired by the CEO of Niti Aayog to look into various issues of e-commerce, including FDI policy. So when the committee gives its report, then the government will examine the recommendations and take an appropriate view, including on the FDI policy on e-commerce. So far as food processing is concerned, the FDI policies have already been considerably relaxed in the last 2 years, especially, and the last round of reforms also happened in June. But obviously, nothing is cast in stone. I mean, the government always reviews the policies, whether it's FDI policy or any other policy. So whenever we come to a conclusion that we need to make any change, we will make it. But right now, the policies are already there, which we have last round was done in June.
Yeah. Ma'am, China has assured greater market access to us. When do we see that happening, and what kind of impact do you foresee on our burgeoning trade deficit with China?
Sorry, what kind of
impact do you see on our burgeoning trade deficit with China?
That's right. I have not given, or the minister has not given me a timeline about when he is expected to come back to us. But my feeling this time after this interaction, and also I must say the minister's interaction has been very positive and constructive. My feeling this time is probably they will definitely come back to us sooner, and the impact will definitely be considerable, substantial and desirable, because we want our trade balance to be trade imbalance to be addressed.
What is meant about this our exports and imports at a time when we months of the year, and probably you will be releasing, ministry will be releasing the data today for the month of September. And also, like as an industry minister, how do you see this continuous downfall in imports, particularly non-oil and non-gold imports also on the local demand? Thank you.
I'll ask DGFT to give some substantive reply on it, and if after that you still want me to respond, I'll do.
See, as far as our exports are concerned, last year, 15-16, they had fallen by about 15%, although if you saw in rupee terms, the decline was only about 9.5%. So in rupee terms, it was lower, and there if you took out the petroleum sector, it was even lower, I think around 5%. So the position in rupee terms, which is the sort of revenue stream that is realized by the exporters, the revenue stream is realized in rupee terms. Rupee terms, the position is not as bad as in dollar terms. Now, even in financial year 16-17, this financial year, in dollar terms till August, there's a decline of 2.9% in exports, whereas in rupee terms, there is actually an increase of 1.82%. So rupee realizations of our exporters in this financial year, the rupee realizations have gone up by 1.82%. And similarly on the import side, last year there was a decline of 14.96%, and this year there is a decline of about 15.8% so far till August in dollar terms. So our trade deficit has clearly improved, and the position is, mixed across commodities. There are some commodities even in this downturn. For instance, if I look at the exports, last year, 15-16, where overall there was a decline, commodities like tea grew by 5.6%. Commodities like tobacco, that grew by 2.44%. Spices, they grew by 4.57%. Then fruits and vegetables, they grew by 5.35%. Cereals, 4.93%, cereal preparations. So the picture is mixed. Ceramic products and glassware, they increased by 4.07%. So clearly, of course, the global slowdown persists. The global recessionary trend is persisting, but the magnitude appears to be coming down. The magnitude appears to be coming down, and consequently, both exports and imports are, affected. You asked about imports separately. Both are, reflections of the same situation. Their reflections, our imports are someone else's exports, and our exports are someone else's imports. So all commodities have been, globally affected, but the intensity and the magnitude appears to be easing out. Now we can't exactly predict the future as to where it will go and how soon an element of normalcy will recover. And the other point to see is that in rupee terms, our exporters are not faring as badly. The rupee realizations are holding up. And in this financial year, the rupee realization is, positive. There's a positive growth till August of 1.82%. 1.82%. And rupee depreciation is an equilibrium response, When a disequilibrium is created, then the value of the rupee is adjusting in the market to create equilibrium. So as far as the exporter is concerned, he is concerned with his realizations in rupee terms.
Ma'am, seeing the huge trade deficit with China, especially from China, Modi government had planned to promote import substitution, especially which is being imported from China, like the computer hardware, telecom hardware, set-up box. So what is the present status and how far these measures have been able to curb the import bill from China?
Well, as I said, we are engaging with China to see how the trade imbalance can be addressed. But on the question of what you call import substitution, Make in India is clearly an attempt to manufacture goods that we can manufacture in India. And if you manufacture in India, you're going to be able to not import those. So in a way, the emphasis to have India become a manufacturing hub is also intended in a large measure to see that we don't import things which we can otherwise produce. And that is one of the reasons Make in India is not just for making for us, but also making for us and for export. And that is one of the ways in which we want to cut down on imports.
Ma'am, my question is...
Speak into the mic, please.
My question is...
My
question is, this was the first BRICS trade fair. The BIMSTEC countries also participated. What was the response like? Can you just tell us how many companies participated from various delegations? Also, ma'am, did the of BRICS trade agreement came up during any bilaterals or during the trade ministers meet? So basically 2 questions.
BRICS free trade.
Yeah, BRICS free trade agreement.
There was no particular, in fact, the talk of a free trade agreement, which has not yet happened, was more when we were with the BIMSTEC people. So the talk of a free trade agreement was more in the context of BIMSTEC rather than in BRICS. And in the BRICS, as I said, during the bilateral, South Africa spoke about reviving SACU, Brazil spoke about reviving Mercosur, and Russia was very keenly talking about, and I raised it also, talking about the Eurasian agreement on which we are working, the Chabahar North-South corridor. So with Russia, we spoke about that. And with China, the talk came on the RCEP. So by itself, for BRICS, FTA was not discussed. But BIMSTEC, sorry? Has it? Oh, I see. I didn't know about it. Possible. I am not aware of it. So, in other words, the answer for your question is, BIMSTEC, the talk was about reviving the FTA, which has been pending, which has been negotiated for a very long time. Whereas when I had the bilateral with the BRICS ministers, each had of their own, Mercosur for Brazil, SACU for South Africa, Eurasian FTA for Russia, and China, the talk was on the RCEP. Yeah. And about the trade fair, I'm not sure if Damuravi has the figures on how many people are participating in everything. Joint Secretary Damu.
Yeah, good afternoon to all of you. For the BRICS Trade Fair, the number of companies that as exhibitors participated were 400. About 200 from India and 200 from the BRICS countries, and about 25 from the BIMSTEC countries. We had about 1,000 entrepreneurs who had business-to-business meetings during this 3 days event. The emphasis was given for energy, cooperation, innovation, startups, agriculture, and infrastructure. And parallelly, the seminars were also woven around these themes during this 3 days event. It's the first ever trade fair, and there is interest to also replicate it in the other presidencies. Thank you.
Yeah. I think that's all the questions. Thank you, madam, for being here, and all the dignitaries on the dais. And thank you, friends, for making it convenient to attend this press conference.